All right, so this should be the beginning of our sculpting and paper mache project. And you guys should have just completed drawing figures over and over, left and right, for a week or two now. And instead of capping it off with a project of you drawing a figure, I thought it'd be more beneficial to you to create a project where you are instead creating a figure but three-dimensionally. So hence why we're working in paper mache now. So with this project, you're going to sculpt a human figure. It can be any human figure. There are some like stipulations I'll add here, but it doesn't have to necessarily be you unless you want it to be. But anyway, with this figure, I do want you to have everything pretty much accurately proportioned. Now, you're going to find that this is going to be kind of difficult when it comes to sculpting with things that you've never sculpted with before, such as wire and paper mache. However, I want it to be your goal to get there as close as possible. So I'm just going to continue showing you some examples. Now, you guys are going to be using paper mache and wire, which you'll never see the wire, but I wouldn't expect to get this like super highly detailed finish, and I mean that specifically with the face. Unless you brought in your own like air dry clay, that's probably the only way you'll get super highly detailed. So like this example here, and here, you probably won't get as detailed, again, only if you brought in some materials. However, it's not required of you to have those details. Same thing with the hands. You don't have to get all the hands or all the fingers with the hand for your figure. Mainly focused on the body here. So here are some more examples. I have an example that a student did that was very similar to this one, and I'll show it to you here in just a minute. But very cool. And then here's some more examples. And what's going to happen tomorrow is you're going to see a video, and it's me walking you through the process of starting your paper mache figure. And we're starting with wire. Now, whenever you're using wire or something as a skeletal base, this is called an armature. And this is pretty much the framework that supports the structure. You will never see this ever. You shouldn't be able to. So it doesn't have to look very pretty right away. So the example I have up on the screen here is of a clay example where they created this wire sculpture and then covered it in clay to really like form the creature they're making there. So instead of using clay for this project, we're going to be using something called celluclay. Now, the reason why clay is in the name is because it's very moldable, like actual clay. However, it's made of paper, so it's pretty much an instant paper mache. And this is the bag of it here. And you could order this, we order it through Amazon, but you can order yours from Amazon too, or Hobby Lobby. Any craft store should have it. But it was new to us this year, and I really enjoyed it, which is why I'm continuing with using this. But anyway, so it is an instant paper mache, and when you get yours, you're going to notice that it's very powdery. And what's inside of it is a dehydrated glue and powdered paper. So once you introduce water to it, it's going to be very moldable, like this picture here. And I'm going to be honest, some people get freaked out by the consistency of this stuff. Just remember, it's glue and water. It's nothing really crazy to be grossed out about. But yeah, so that's celluclay. So you're going to be covering up your wire with paper and tape, and I'll show that in the video too. But then lastly, you'll finish it off in Celluclay, which has a really cool finish. This is a mask made of Celluclay. Let me move this video. And what they did was they molded it, and then to get a smooth finish, because you can kind of tell this is a little bit lumpy, they went through and sanded it. So you'll be able to do that with your figure as well. Well, my thing wasn't wanting to click there. All right, here we go. So for this project, I want you to decide a couple things before you get started. So I want you to decide what pose you want for your figure. I want it to reflect you in some way. Now, again, the figure doesn't have to be of you itself, but it has to reflect you. So I've already taken a video of the first paper mache video where I'm constructing mine, and I chose to do a painter or create a painter because I love to paint. That's one of my favorite mediums. But if you're into dance, theater, cooking, running, football, you name it, do something that pertains to that. Next, you will paper mache over the wire to create the body, and again, that will be video 2 of the paper mache series. I think you guys will see it later in the week, that part of this project. And then what I want you to do as well when you're thinking about sketching this and creating it, I want you to think about what added element could you create in order for it to really be a clear message of what you're doing. So, for example, I chose to do a painter. I'm probably going to add a little palette or paintbrush. Thought about even making an easel. So make sure you're adding some element to your piece. You can't just have the figure. You have to add something to it. So, for example, that could be clothing. That could be like an accessory. It could be a chair. It can be a paintbrush, palette, etc. If you're doing a certain sport, think about including the item in that sport. I had a student do a lacrosse sculpture this year, and she created the lacrosse stick, and I thought that was really cool. And then lastly, I'm looking for proportion. So we've spent a good deal of time talking about figures and how they're proportioned, and you guys have drawn them over and over. I want you to be able to sculpt it now. So really paying attention to the arm, legs, torso, everything in between, and making sure they're proportionate to each other. Okay, so for today, you are going to get started with creating sketches. So first, you're going to decide what pose you want to do for your figure that reflects something about you. This can be anything. With those 3 sketches, make sure they are differing. So for example, I shared with you that I chose to do a painter. Painting is not only the thing I do. I also am a teacher. I'm about to be a mom. I like to cook. I like to hike. I like to throw pottery. There's other things that I could implement. So make sure you have 3 different sketches. So I can't just do 3 sketches of a painter. That'd be kind of redundant. So make sure you're doing 3 different sketches. Okay. Sketches must be completed in color. So no quick sketches in pencil. I really want to see how you're planning this out, how is this going to be finished, and so on. Also want to see some descriptions of how you plan to create the additional element. So yeah, what methods are you going to use? And then you guys will start the construction of your sculpture with the first paper mache video tomorrow, and that should be September 9th this year. Okay, so pretty much how you're going to be graded in this project is first, is your figure in an action pose? Okay, they can't just be doing something crazy, or not crazy, boring. I'd prefer crazy. Yeah, make sure they're in an action pose. Next is your figure accurately proportioned. This is a big one. So making sure that everything looks proportionate as a human. And then next, did you add that additional element to your figure? Example, you could add clothes, accessories, an animal, so on. And then lastly, and I haven't touched on this yet, finishing. Are you going to paint it? Or an option I gave this year, which not everyone took me up on. I only have one example, I think, to show you. But you have to, wow, words. You could paper mache it with different paper outside of newsprint, which you guys are using celluclay, so I don't know if I should leave that in there. You know what? I'm going to say scratch that. Finishing should be painting. So just ignore the paper mache and different paper. Unless you really want to, talk to Miss Hamby and see if she's cool with it. But definitely painted, I would say, just because that gives more of a finished look. And it's easier to do with the celluclay anyway. Okay. And that is it for the slide section of this video. So real quick, I'm going to show you some examples. How do I make this larger? Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh, wait. I think I just gotta, there we go. Yay. All right. So very quickly, let me show you some examples from this year. And this is a in progress one that I like to use every year to show, and you guys will see this guy in the next video. All right, let's see, which one do I want to start with? Let's start with this little alien guy that I have here. Now, this past year, they were able to put their figures on wooden blocks. I have wooden blocks. However, I won't have the nails and everything available to you, but you're more than welcome to hot glue them or create like a little wire, what's the word? Like a little stand if you wanted to. I can set those out. But anyway, here's a figure here. It's of an alien. And then I'm just going to go ahead and jump to one of my favorite ones, and hopefully you guys can see it because it's kind of large. Now, this student asked if he could elongate this person's arm. So this one arm is out of proportion, but it's still really cool. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it all on screen here. But it's so cool when it like stands up. Yeah, you guys aren't getting like its full, I don't know, greatness in this video, but I'm going to point out some things that I really loved and that I started to incorporate in my examples. And that is, Caden's the artist here. He created some edges for the clothing. And he did this with masking tape and paper, and I will show you guys how I did that as well in mine. But I think it just adds it's such a small detail but makes a big difference. So he did that here in the coat, and you can see in the sleeves here. Now I wish he would have painted inside, but still, like it just adds so much more. Now with this, these guys had the option to do paper mache in a different way. So this is like paper mache, and then this is the bumpy celluclay, which he preferred it to have a lot of texture with this. Anyway, I'm going on a long tangent here, but this is a very great example. He even added like the details of the fists and everything. And this is a character, you probably know this character, I do not. But he did a really cool job on that one, a really good job. Okay, let's see. This one is very rustic, however, it's very cool. And that is our little corpse bride here. I don't want to break her, so I am going to be very delicate with her. But she is, again, rustic as a figure, but the construction of this was really, really fun to watch. He even added felt his hair, the veil. I mean, it's just so like cool and creepy. But anyway, an area that I want you guys to do better on are the hands. Yeah, cut that wire, and I'll show you that in the next video and get that to be a little bit better. But for our first introduction with Celluclay, not too bad. Okay, and then let me show you one that has probably the best human proportions. Let's see. This is Buzz's artwork, and I'll show this one again in the next video. But her figure is sitting, and this was her added element. So her little companion, her little cat, and she even had a little artist card that looked so great with that too. Here we go. Her little artist card that sat with her figure. She even went through and sculpted the face a little bit, which was not required, but is such a beautiful added detail. So highly recommend it. Yeah, like you can even see the lips, I think, in there. I don't know if you can see it, but I can see it. But anyway, this was one of those examples where I let them cover it in a different kind of paper, and she brought in like tissue paper and finished that. However, I believe I'm gonna have you guys just paint yours. And then anyway, that's hers. She did a fabulous job. And then let me show you this example. And I think I show you this one in the next one too. Now this one had a very cool and deep concept as well. This is Hannah's, and she painted hers and did a good job there. Let's do the full rotation here. But her added element was this mask, and the way she explained it to me, it was just beautiful. This person is faceless because they've taken off this mask, and yeah, so there's that example. And then, okay, I guess I'll just do, I don't know if I should show you these. Okay. Here's another one. This one was definitely done in Celluclay. Yeah, so their added element were the headphones and some clothes. We have a runner here. Even has some abs going on, which is hilarious. And then, let's see. All right, last one. The face on this one, again, a little rough, but the idea here and just pretty much the cuteness of this, I enjoy. So we have a little girl at a sleepover, and then she has like her added things are like popcorn and candy. She even added hair with some yarn, which I thought was awesome, and added, what was that called, like a sleep mask, and painted on some pajamas. So yeah, I think that was really fun, and I think this is supposed to be like the carpet, and this is just yarn too, glued onto a block. But anyway, all right, so those are those examples. Hopefully you guys have fun with this project. I know this year my art twos loved it. But anyway, you guys go rock out with some paper mache sculptures, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.